All right, so Mr. Barron, my first topic that I want to talk about is homework harmful or helpful in the school environment? And do you have any opinion on it?
Yes.
Okay.
It is both. How is it helpful? Homework is helpful for practice, right? Academics is in the same way that, you're a mountain biker, right? So you
Right.
practice with the team to get better.
Exactly.
If you were, and you're a musician, right? You play the piano amongst other instruments, so you practice the piano and you get better. So in many ways, homework is meant in the same way. I think, though, that it's very easy to cross the line with homework into where it becomes burdensome or busy work or just to fill time and space. It's used as a control mechanism. So I think that, I would say that classes that I teach, I'm very conscious of what I assign for homework. I know we have a homework policy now that, in some way influences what I do, but it's really, is it beneficial to my students and is it going to help them get better at a specific skill?
Right. And what's the homework policy now?
So if you teach different grade levels, there's an amount of time that a student is supposed to have for homework. So at the secondary level for us, there's a distinction between sort of regular ed classes and then AP classes. And I think that it's 3 hours a week for an AP class in high school.
Okay. That's reasonable, I guess. It's just that now I'm thinking, because I'm taking 3 APs this year, and if I'm doing 9 hours of homework a week for all my AP classes, plus the additional homework of my other 2 classes that aren't AP, it really adds up. And I don't know, I think teachers are aware of it, but they're still assigning it, and I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying that I know most high schoolers, a lot of high schoolers have 5 hours of homework maybe a night, and there's definitely friends of mine and students who do have that, and it's really rough. And I think it can be helpful. I agree. I have a reverse classroom this year, and I'm really enjoying that, and I think that's really cool, which is when you get a lesson at home and you do the classwork in class.
Right.
And I think that's really great, and I have a really high grade in that class, and so I don't know. I feel like homework can be changed to benefit more the student. I don't know. When I was in 8th grade, an exchange student from South Korea came to my middle school, and we asked him about homework in South Korea because he was asking, "Wow, you have so much homework every night." And I said, "Yeah, well, what's it like there?" And he said, "There's no homework in South Korea. We just go to school, and then if we optionally want to study more after school, we can come back to school at night and study. Or we can study at home. But it's all optional."
Right.
And so, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if we need to change.
That would be a huge cultural change.
Yeah, that would be
in
huge.
the United States.
Yes.
So something that you're talking about, and I see it from a different perspective, being an adult, and working with a population of students. I have a caseload of students who are identified as gifted and talented, and it's not unique to that population whatsoever.
Right.
And I think I could generalize to the greater population of Montreal High School is that people between the ages of 14 and 18 really struggle with time management. That is an executive functioning skill that gets developed. And high school, you have homework, you have sports, maybe you have music, maybe you have a job, maybe you have a significant other, and you are bombarded with having to manage time in a way you've probably never been asked to manage time before, and it's hard to wrap your mind around that. And so then when you have all of these things, right, you automatically, conscious or not, prioritize them.
Right.
So your significant other might be your priority at the moment, and your APUSH homework might be, 6th on the list. And what you do over time is you learn how to manage that, or you don't.
Right.
But that is sort of a key aspect of homework that I think doesn't get talked about as often as possible. And so I think it's the responsibility of teachers in the building to provide strategies for helping students organize and manage their time. It's something that I do with students all the time is talking about time management.
That's a good point. Were you like slammed with homework when you were in high school? Do you remember?
I do. It was, I played sports. I had a job. I worked for a local publishing company. I took, a good spate of academic classes, and it was just, I knew that I had to learn. If I was going to go to college, I was going to have to pay for college, whether that was out of my own pocket through scholarships or whatever. And so for me, my father died when I was 14, right before I started high school. And so for me, that was a contextual life event that was a kick in the butt to say, like, all right, the next 4 years are going to be key for the 4 years after that. So I had sort of that impetus to figure that out. My father was also a drill sergeant in the U.S. Army.
Oh, really?
So we had a
structure.
Yeah, we had a structure. And he was not overbearing whatsoever, but I picked up, I learned by modeling what he did. Now, my younger brother, not the case.
Right.
Not as geared towards time management, but he figured it out. Right. He's 32 now. It took him a couple extra years, but he figured it out.
All right.
What about you? How do you feel about your management of time?
It's all right. Some of the points you brought up are true, and I probably don't know how to manage time that great. But I do sit down every night and do my homework. I don't just not do it. And I think a big distraction for a lot of people, and even adults, is technology.
Oh yeah.
And having your phone or your computer or the TV or something, is a big distraction. And because you can sit there and then the little ping will go off and your brain will be like, what's that? And you'll have to go check what happened and who texted you or what your notification is.
Right.
And so that's a distraction.
Something else that I don't know if you realize this when you started, but you have lovely parents. I like your parents a lot.
Thank you.
And they're very invested in you and your success in school. And for people across, let's just take Monticello High School, for example, across our spectrum of 1,150, 1,200 kids, whatever the number is, there's going to be varying roles that parents play. There are going to be kids who have to work in order to help support their family. Maybe home life is chaotic, right, rather than static.
True.
And so there are so many contextual factors that influence. A kid might want to do his or her homework, but it's just not physically, emotionally, mentally possible because of chaos. So there are so many contextual variables that influence homework for any student in this building, and it has a lot to do with just sort of where you go when you leave the doors of Monticello High School.